Ooh.
No, it didn't work. There we go.
What? Anyway.
Wait for a minute for the oh, there we go. No, it's just the outside. That's not so bad.
Okay. Well, I'd start recording anyway. We're about 20 seconds in.
Fair enough.
So we've got a double bill review. Probably won't split this up into two. I'll just chapter it. So there will be spoilers for both films. And the first film we saw today was Evil Dead Rise. I kept calling it Evil Dead Rises, and it's not. It's just Evil Dead Rise, isn't it?
Yes.
Which is I liked a lot. I thought it was great fun. But I've seen the other Evil Dead movies. I wouldn't say I was like a big fan or anything. I've seen them once each 30 years ago. But I mean, they're relatively iconic.
I've not seen any of them.
And I just thought this was a hoot because it kind of served as some sort of franchise sequel, soft reboot, and just completely and utterly homages the Sam Raimi films. Because the other thing I didn't realise until the end, this wasn't written or directed by Sam Raimi. He's an executive producer, so he's obviously had input. But you know, that might have been a couple of meetings or something because it's his IP, like, you know. Yeah, I just thought it was great fun because it had all of the character tropes. They did something different. Like there's Sam Raimi's old car, which is always used to be in everything, and they kind of did something different by having it like a modern model of said car. But everything else was there really. The sort of ghosts, the demons, the possessions, the beheading, the chainsaw. It was just like a bit of a love letter. But what I did think was funny was earlier on today we watched Honest Trailers, yes. Evil Dead movies, and it brought out what all the tropes are, like
basically for the original trilogy.
Yeah, for beheadings and like going through the woods and stuff. And the opening scene basically takes two of the sort of tropes and just rips the piss out of them. It's like it knows itself. I think it's a hoot. I just thought, I mean, yeah, it's gory because Evil Dead's gore. There's a lot of blood. There's a lovely homage to The Shining at one point. But I just sort of chuckled away to myself for 90 minutes or whatever. It wasn't a long film either. And I just thought that was a great fun. What did you think?
It was a film I sat through.
I knew that's what was coming.
Because that's what I posted on the on the Facebook tag. Yeah, I didn't hate it. For what it was very well done, but just not really my kind of movie, I think. To be fair.
Yeah, I think you've got to be into the 80s slot shit horror films to really appreciate it. You know, you've got to have sat through all the Video Nasties and the Nightmare on Elm Streets and stuff like that.
Which, yeah, I have,
but were you a fan of them?
No.
See, I loved them. I loved all of that. Like, you know, a new Nightmare on Elm Street film was fucking like amazing for me. I was like, yes. Except we didn't say yes back in the 80s. It would have been like cool or something, probably.
I mean, that's one thing I did quite like about Evil Dead Rise is they actually take the piss out of it as well. When you've got at the beginning, was it the two younger kids turn up and it's like, yeah,
we're going to watch all the Freddy movies,
yeah,
even the rubbish ones, even the rubbish ones. And the other was like, there are no rubbish ones. And in my head, I went, yes, there is the second one. At which point, again, I chuckled to myself because I was like, they've made me do that, and they know they've made me do that. Because 2 is generally the crap one. Because also 2 has nothing to do with the rest of them. Yeah, I'd say that's probably fairly accurate. I like all the rest of them. Oh, I was watching that car. What has he done? Is he? Looks a bit like the Batmobile for a second. So a car in front of us, convertible, has just put his roof up automatically while he's driving along, and he just made it look a bit like the car had ears. It was a bit weird. I can't lie. So that was film 1, which we're done with in 4 minutes. Because there's not really any more to say about it. Film 2 was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and this time I'll let you go first.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And I know the reason why Paul is letting me go first, because I had a reaction at the end of the movie that is actually very rare for me, in that I actually welled up. Which for people that know me is basically equivalent to other people probably just bawling their eyes out at the end of the movie. me to put into words why I felt that.
I just thought it was the cute animals.
I think it was definitely partly that, and kind of what they went through. But there is so much in that movie that's about, and this is going to sound quite weird and possibly a bit sort of, oh for fuck's sake, gay injury, this, that, and the other. But for me, Guardians is absolutely 100% about found family. You've got all these characters that have
Keep talking, I'm just going.
absolute hell, who basically form. And I think if you are queer, that's something that absolutely resonates with you. So there's an element of that. I think it was certainly from the end credit roll, it was very apparent that this was a goodbye to Guardians of the Galaxy. Basically, like a lot of films do, you have like the various stills from stuff, but the end credits crawl for Volume 3 basically had stills from all of the Guardians of the Galaxy stuff. So the previous movies, the Christmas special with Kevin Bacon, and
But it did that at the start as well. The Marvel logo wasn't the normal Marvel ident. It was just Guardians imagery. Interesting that the mid credits was just suggesting that there could be Guardians of the Galaxy, but not in this form. New team up.
yes,
And the end credits was nothing, but then came up Star-Lord will return.
well, the actual phrase was the legendary Star-Lord will return,
Yeah.
which I thought was kind of interesting because they didn't just say Star-Lord, because obviously throughout the films he's been Star-Lord. So the fact they talk about the legendary Star-Lord,
Right.
that to me screams something multiversal.
Right. Okay.
But we shall see.
Yeah, indeed. I was the other way around to you. I thought it was okay, and that's as far as I can go with it. I just kept thinking it was. I did like the Rocket backstory with all the other animals. I thought that was cute, even though I just thought it was hilarious that Rocket sort of meets his friends in the afterlife. And I was just waiting for Dumbledore to turn up because it was the King's Cross train station afterlife from Harry Potter. I was like, oh, are we trying to imply that the Potter exists in the Marvel in the MCU?
Well, to be fair, it was just basically the backdrop of the cages, but with the same. But
the exact same. Yeah. Dumbledore would have turned up and gone, you could probably get in a cage if you wanted. It was just, it just felt flat to me. It was okay. I laughed at the silly little quirky humour that Guardians essentially brought to the MCU and has just seeded throughout as it's gone on. But I just wasn't thrilled or excited or gripped at any point. It was on. And I just thought the story, compared to the other two films that seemed to have bigger consequences, this just didn't massively in lots of ways. I don't know, it just didn't seem like it had enough to it, really, for me. It would easily be, if I'm going to start ranking all of the MCU films, it's going to be in the bottom 5. And it's okay. It's a good film. It's 5 out of 10, maybe 5.5 out of 10. But I just didn't love anything about it at all. It was just, that's nice. And that's really about as far as I could say about it. It looked stunning. In isolation, the Rocket backstory I thought was rather lovely. Especially if you realise it's pre anything we've ever known of Rocket, and those 3 friends have never been anything. So it's they all have to die. So that was it really. That was our thoughts on those films. Nice short one tonight, and we can get the light off before we go on the motorway. Yay!